Many years ago, a Christian lady who was married to a Muslim, and she used to bring her children to Sunday school, to different classes for the children. And I was so impressed with her akhlaq, manners. Unfortunately, some Muslim people don't have that manners. And you say, subhanallah, look at this, how truthful, how nice, how courteous. They smile, good morning, salamu alaikum. There are a lot of good people out there. And sometimes Muslims, they don't smile. You know what I mean? You feel sometimes, what is this religion is not changing us, not making us. Like we said last week, smile opens the heart. She was a nice person. And of course, as a Muslim, we all think the same way. Well, why they're not Muslim? Why did she didn't accept Islam? And she's married to a Muslim and has Muslim children, and she makes sure that they do the Quran and read. So I asked her. She said, listen, I am not going to convert to Islam. Of course, she's right. Because if you are forcing someone to convert, she's true. I respect people like that because she didn't convert because of marriage. She says, I know my husband and I love him and he's a wonderful human being. Regardless of religion. Some people, they're not religious, but they're wonderful human beings. You know what I mean? I've seen people don't believe in Allah, but they're very nice, very charitable, very kind, very helpful. See, belief, right work, or amal salih, and then akhlaq. And some people, akhlaq from Allah. Like the Prophet ﷺ, he had akhlaq. He was a good model before the Quran was revealed. There are some people like that. I have seen non-Muslims, some of them even don't believe in God. But their akhlaq unbelievable. Kind, hardworking, honest, wouldn't lie. And you say, well, where do they get these things? SubhanAllah. So she was that kind of person. She said, but I have to give credit to Islam for one thing. She says, I'm a Christian person, but I have to give Islam one credit. You guys have discipline. Take this, very important. This coming from a non-Muslim. You have discipline. In religion, not necessarily in life. You have discipline. I said, can you explain? She said, when I look at Muslims, they take their religion seriously. When it's salat time, she said, from my husband, alhamdulillah, he's a good example. She said, when salat time and he's watching soccer, and he loves soccer, he would leave everything and he does his wudu and prays. I've been married for him more than 10 years. And he is, when he comes, and he would wake up in the middle of the night, does his fajr, and go back to sleep or go to work. She said, I see discipline in my husband, and I notice that in other Muslims, and I say, I give Muslims or Islam credit for discipline, because she said, we don't have laws and regulations. Then I said to myself, let me share with you this issue of discipline. Discipline is about having good habits and rituals. To be successful in this life, you have to have rituals and good habits. I'm not talking about traits, habits. A habit is something you do over and over and over continuously, and you maintain that regularly. It becomes like a ritual. It's ritual, we call it, we give it the name ritual, which is a religious word, because it is continuous and consistent, and it's done certain time and at certain place. It's good to have rituals. And if you don't have rituals, your life is in a mess. So they studied successful people. They found that all of them have two things: discipline, and because of discipline, they have rituals. Islam teaches that, but we can have different interpretations, but there are things that we agree on. There are things to believe in, things we have to do, and things that define who we are. And this is what this woman said to me. And I always remembered her words until today. This is like many, many, many years ago. And then I think to myself and say, listen, what are the things that should be rituals at a minimum, because people feel like overwhelmed with religious practice. And I'm not talking about rituals of salat and this. These are obligatory. There are things you do. Like I said last week, I gave you a ritual. Remember I said there is a brother who comes here. He made it a ritual. He told me it gets difficult sometimes, but he said because it's a ritual, it's part of eating and drinking. 1 hour a day, he volunteers. He does something where he's not taking money for, but rather he's expecting, of course, it's self-satisfaction. But of course, as a Muslim, he knows Allah will reward him. Ritual, for instance, every day before I sleep, I'll hug, my children, and I'll tell them I love you. A ritual is every Friday morning or Friday afternoon, I call my parents and say how are you doing? And they expect me on Friday. And if I don't observe that ritual, they would think something is wrong. And I better contact them and tell them, I'm fine if I didn't call you yesterday. Because why you're apologizing? Because there is a ritual there. So it's a good habit that you always do and people know you for. A ritual has also ethics and adab and akhlaq. Things. It could be a ritual, for instance, that when you finish praying Isha, you always come to this corner and pray Sunnah. It's a habit. It's not obligatory. You can pray anywhere you want. But you like this corner where you pray Sunnah. I have my own corner too where I like to pray Witr, where I like to pray this. And it makes it interesting. A ritual is, no matter what, the family gets together once a week, no matter what, busy or not, and sit down and just talk to each other. A ritual could be something like having every Friday lunch with your friend or your business partner. So these are rituals, and they help us organize our time. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put those 5 salats so we can organize ourselves. But they should be done with not only habit. Al-'ada can become ibadah, but ibadah should not become 'ada. Habit, it could have in it an act of worship. You worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you go visit your parents. And you call your mother or father on Fridays, Allah will reward you for that. But the opposite shouldn't be. Ibadah, an act that you dedicate to Allah, it becomes 'ada. That's very dangerous. For instance, some people may, pray just because everybody prays. And if nobody prays, they won't pray. This is where ibadah, worship, becomes a habit. I'll give you an example. This scholar had pets. He loved cats and parrots. So, some people love pets. He had, and his students gave him a nice macaw parrot. Beautiful. Speaks, and also beautiful look, different colors, usually yellow, orange, blue, green. So beautiful. When you see those macaws, I saw them in Guyana and South America. They're amazing. I wanted to bring one with me too. But it's a big, difficult process. But they're so beautiful. The colors, unbelievable. How many of you saw macaw? Huh? Amazing. So he had this parrot. This parrot would not eat from nobody except from the sheikh, from the scholar. Became so used to the sheikh. So the sheikh taught this parrot to say, La ilaha illallah. So this parrot would say, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. Time passed. The students came in one day and they found Sheikh sad and crying. They said, what happened? And they saw the parrot next to him dead. They said, you're crying for the death of the parrot? Oh my God, you must have loved him. He said, not really. I'm not crying because the parrot died, because the cat killed the parrot. He said, what I'm crying is that I will die like this parrot. He said, what do you mean? He said, this parrot used to say, La ilaha illallah. And when the cat was fighting him, he was panicking, he forgot. He didn't say La ilaha illallah, he was like, making noise until he died. He says, I'm afraid that we are like parrots, just say La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. And when we die, we need to say La ilaha illallah, because it's not in our heart, it's only in our tongue, we won't say it. You see here, you don't want ibadah to become ada. We don't want to be like parrot, la 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 la. But when he was in time of death, he was screaming like a crow. So this is why when we do the ibadah, it has to be always a new intention. And if you do the ada, which is the habit, make the intention that you want to come close to Allah. Why do you call someone? Make intention, I'm calling them to remind them that I love them and I care for them, and maybe I remind them of Allah, I remind them of this life. Make that intention. Turn your adat, your habits, into something that you will be rewarded for. Why not? But in life, have good habits. Today, in the first khutbah, I spoke about, we dedicated the khutbah for, Earth Day. Today is a very important day. We remind you. But the reason why we have problems in the world today, pollution. What causes pollution? What causes, deforestation and all of these bad things? It is bad habits. One of the bad habits, we have to eat meat every day. Who said we have to eat meat every day? It's not actually good for us to eat, especially red meat every day. It's not good. And there is a correlation between too much meat and cancer, too much meat and blood diseases. One of the bad habits, the way today, because we have water, we are in Canada, and we waste water. All of us are acting like Yajuj and Majuj, who will later, as you know in the prophecy, they will, dry up all the lakes and seas. So, one of the things, the way we shower, the way we make wudu, we're wasteful. We don't even finish the food on our plate. People back then, they ate little bit. Our mother used to tell us, my mother, in Jannah you will be given small plates, and when you finish your food, it's going to be filled. They used to tell us that you shouldn't waste. Even in Jannah, there is no waste. In Jannah, which is the place of thawab and abundance, there will be no waste. In Jannah, you will be given what to eat. If you need more, you'll be given and given. But there is no waste in Jannah. The way we spend money, the way we buy clothes, and we don't even use them. I know, we're all guilty. You buy a suit or a dress, especially ladies. $1,000 dress, and that's it. She wears it once. Wear it again. Oh, they're going to see me. They already saw me. Oh, so you just wear it. Think people remember. Oh, no, they're going to put a scarf on it. They won't remember nothing. But women like that, they're laughing. And some brothers, no, I wore the suit this back in 20 years ago. So this is the problem. We are getting into bad habits. Bad habits for our eyes. Some people sin, so it becomes a normal thing to do that. And bad habits. Now, here is a bad habit. I spoke to the children, and they say, somebody told me, and this, we were talking this to the youth. They said, why Imam? They think I am some Imam who sits in the mosque and I don't see the world. I work also. I do business. I go talk to people. I see more non-Muslims than most of you see. And I'm telling you, I don't swear. And I know non-Muslims who don't swear. They say, no, no, no. These days everybody swears. Swearing is a bad habit. If you swear, it becomes a habit. Now many of our youth, they say, oh, may Allah forgive us, we swear. And then you're going to swear in front of your children. Then you're going to say to your son, this, and use the 4 letters and then your children becomes a habit, the bad language. So the habit gets into you. It becomes in you. See, like martial arts. Those of you, martial arts, we do. It's called muscle memory. You don't even think about it. As your muscle move because you trained it. It's called muscle. Hafid al-Quran. Do you know we are sleeping and reading Surah Al-Baqarah? Do you know sometimes we read, wallahi, we don't think of what we're reading. It just, somehow, you become unconscious and you're just reading, Wallahi, I'm not thinking about it. And it goes. It becomes, because of repetition, your tongue just reads it. You could do that with Surah Al-Fatiha. Don't need to be conscious of it. How? Who does this? Because you have built, muscle memory. Your tongue gets used to it. So what happens with bad habits, you start doing them. من عاشر قوما تخلق بأخلاقهم in رواية 40 يوما تخلق بأخلاقهم أحب أمكاره. Whoever hangs with some people for 40 days, he will become like them whether he likes it or not. If some of you kids go with the bad guys, all they do is swear and do bad things, you're going to be like them. Huh? What did the poet said? وَمَنْ يَكُنِ الْغُرَابُ لَهُ دَلِيلًا يَمُرُّ بِهِ عَلَى جِيَفِ الْكِلَابِ. Whoever takes the crow, raven, as his guide, as his best friend, he will always take him to the dumps, to the garbage, to the dead animals, where people, of course, don't want to go, and it smells bad. If you get used to some bad friends, you're going to become one of them. Al-mar'u ala dini khalilih. A person follows the religion of his friend. That's why many kids don't understand their parents. They say, son, don't go with him. Oh, you don't know them, he's nice. And now that the kids, they think their parents are bad and mean because they don't like John or Jennifer or, Sidhu, whoever is their friend. Why? And they say, my parents don't like me. My parents don't know they came from back home. This is the talk of the youth. I heard them. Not you, but I heard. My parents don't know. They came back home. They never seen this. So you're smart. It has nothing to do with education or being back home. This is universal. A bad friend is bad for you. Tell me who your friend is. I tell you who you are. This is the real. But this is where you gain bad habits. Now, if I want a good habits, who should I go hang with? Who should I be friend with? As you go to bad things, you're going to get some of that. Like Rasul gave a beautiful, beautiful hadith. He said, there are 2 people. One sells, one is a welder. He does soldering and he welds metal. He said, if you are with him, you're with him. If you don't get burnt, at least you'll get some of the sparkles into your clothes. Have you ever been in a welding shop? I did it. I was very young, and I sat down all day looking at him. Wallah, for 3 days I had pain in my eyes. And he didn't tell me to cover my eyes, and I was just watching. 3 days of pain. And of course he said, but if you have a friend who sells perfume or musk, or oils, he said, even if you don't buy from him, you will get, when you come out from his shop, you'll smell good. This is the idea of good habits and bad habits. So let's remember that we need to develop, good habits. And as I said, good habits can become acts of worship, but never turn acts of worship to become a habit, because you know, unless your intention is right. May Allah guide us and help us and give us the understanding of this beautiful religion of ours and protect us from, ill thoughts and wrongdoing. Jazakallah.